Welcome to the 21st session of the course Consumer Behavior, and in this session we are going to talk about the VALS original typology or VALS 1 typology of values and lifestyle. In the previous session we have discussed about the concept of values, and corresponding in the previous session we have talked about the lifestyle and AIO classification of lifestyle. And in this session we are going to talk about the VALS 1 typology. VALS represents values and lifestyle, and what is its relation actually with lifestyle marketing and how it has resulted in different kind of market segments. So, as mentioned in the learning outcome, we can say that after completing this session we will understand the original VALS 1 typology developed by Schrey International in 1978, or which is alternatively known as VALS 1 typology, and what are its implications to the marketers. So, we first want to see what is the context on which we are discussing this VALS typology. Now, VALS is a system, VALS values and lifestyle, this is particularly a system or a questionnaire actually to understand different kind of consumers and their distinctive products, service and media preferences. It also shows their attitude towards life, how much they are risk taker or they are risk averse, whether they are socially conscious or they are not, or how much they want to succumb to the peer pressure, how much they are an independent thinkers. So, there are a set of questions by which this could be identified. VALS, this was the original framework, but which I will discuss first, but then in the next session I will be probably discussing about the recent framework which has been described by Strategic Business Insight, and in their website actually the interested readers or the students, they can just type strategicbusinessinsights.com, and there you can find out the set of questions also which are asked to the customers. Now, the original VALS typology developed by Schrey International in 1978 has segmented people based on their social values and their lifestyle, or in this case probably the lifestyle has been determined by their social value system, and hence the name values and lifestyle. Since then, SRI research has found that psychological characteristics combined with the several key demographics are better predictors of consumer preferences than the social value alone. So, that is why this time we call it psychographics, which means it is not only one independent psychographic variable like value or lifestyle or attitude or something, it is basically the combination of all this which predicts the segment or the customer or segment behavior very well. Now, we see the VALS typology that has been in use now recently. Whatever we are seeing as the VALS typology is the modern one, which is the Strategic Business Insights, that is VALS TM typology. That typology has been in use for recently in the previous 20 years, but I will talk about from the historical perspective from where VALS typology has evolved, and that is why even before I am talking about the last 10 years data and all, I will talk about first how this kind of thing evolved and what was the initial segments, and then in the next session I will talk about the recent segments. So, we talk about this VALS 1 typology where it is in 1978 and it has defined the total US residents. Actually, this is applicable in Indian context as well, but initially this was propounded for Western context, that is particularly the US context, and in that context it has divided the customers into 4 major categories and a total of 9 lifestyles. And what are these? See, 4 major categories are need driven category, those who want to satisfy their needs, they are devoid of money. So, for them the basic need satisfaction is more important. Second one is the outer directed. They are little affluent and they want to mingle with the society, they are ready to adapt several new things. So, that is another category, outer directed. Then we have inner directed, those who yes, they interact with society, but ultimately their choice goes by their inner values. So, they are inner directed people, and this is the last one is the combined outer and inner directed people, the most composed people in the who equally prioritize inner and outer directed behavior. So, now we first talk about the first one in this category, as we see here, need driven. So, we first talk about the need driven category. So, the need driven people, as I just right now mentioned, they have a crunch of resources, and I mean resources means the economic resources. So, that is why their life is more driven of need rather than choice. In India also, when we talk about the bottom of the pyramid kind of customer, they actually project this kind of behavior, because they are devoid of money. So, that is why first they will try to satisfy their hunger, or the basic necessities and amenities like their residence and all, that they try to first satisfy, and then they can go for better brands, or they can go for some conspicuous consumption. Though there are variation of studies, and some studies have said that in spite of this, some people do engage in conspicuous consumption, but more or less it is believed that first they have to satisfy. Ideally, they should satisfy this kind of customers is the devoid of economic resources. They will first try to satisfy their own needs and wants. I mean that too the basic needs. So, for them actually the values of this kind of need driven people normally evolve around the concerns of survival, safety and security. They have a common tendency to be distrustful, dependent and unplanned. So, that is why in our country, when we talk about the bottom of the pyramid kind of customer, they are more dependent on the retailer structure, retailers basically the local retailers for their choice, or their own peer groups for coming to any choice. So, this need driven category is again subdivided into two categories. One is the category of survivors, another is the category of sustainers. Now, the survivors category, if you see, these are the 4% of the population in US that time 1978, and this was the population aged around 18 or or sometimes we find that aged either around 18 or they are old people. So, mostly 18, but some old people are also coming under this category. So, they are mostly underprivileged, and because they have very acute poverty, they do not have enough education. So, they do not have skills, they cannot get a good job. So, they only have some kind of basic or labor type jobs, and they have very narrow channels of upward mobility, since they are not literate and they are not educated. So, they cannot increase their income as such. So, often these people are oriented to more of customs and rituals rather than, but they are also characterized by anguish and misery. Basically, they will go for their very basic products and like very basic food items and basic stuffs. Sustainer category is comparatively a younger category, and they are a group basis of the boundary of poverty. They are also running under poverty, but they are not as poor as the survivors, because they are still younger and little better off, and they may not have lost all their aspirations. They still aspire, that they still have hope, and they have a tendency to imitate the lifestyle of the upper section, although they do not have enough resources. In India, this kind of people actually constitute the lower middle income people, okay, and or maybe the APL segment, the above poverty line segment, not exactly too poor, but not even middle class. So, they have a tendency to get things which the middle class people are using. So, probably the pouch packs or this kind of products, pouch packs of different brands on the lower end variety of different brands. So, that could be of the marketers could try this kind of customers, or with they can develop this kind of products for this sustainer category of customer, because they want to come up, but they do not have enough resource to come up, and some of them have actually found to be working in underground economy as well. Now, moving to the outer directed group of customers. Now, an outer directed group of customers, they conduct their lives in response to cues symbolic or significative from the external environment. Now, psychologically, outer direction is actually one step advanced than the need driven state due to the inclusion of other people, host of institution, because outer directed people actually interact with the society. So, they have common goals as the society, their own peer group has, and the array of personal value and options are far more multifaceted than those presented in the need driven state. So, in general, the outer directeds are the most contented kind of Americans, and they are thoroughly adjusted to the mainstream culture, and they can influence it also. And this kind of outer directed customers, again they are divided into three categories. One is, as we have seen here, belongers, emulator and achiever. So, I will discuss one by one. So, one is belonger. Belonger is the 39% of the population. They comprise of the middle class group of Americans who are most balancing entities. Now, they are the preservers and protectors of their ethical and status quo. They are very careful about what to do and what not to do, and ideally they are very conventional. They are conformist to their group norms, their peer groups, what the other peers or the neighbors are behaving. In that way they try to behave actually, because they do not want to be odd man out. So, their choice of brands is actually the choice of brands which their peers are also doing. They are very conformist that way. So, family, church, this kind of things are very important to them, and it is evident that belongers in terms of psychological maturity are actually 4 of the need drivens in having a much wider range of association, because they are little bit steady in terms of income. So, they have much more time to interact with the society as such, and they have a long term planning for the future. They want their kids to get admitted in good schools. So, all this, and these are comparatively well integrated with their external environment. Now, we talk about the emulators. Emulators are 8% that time of the US population. They live in a totally diverse world from that of the belongers. Now, they try to embark on the upper levels of socio-economic hierarchy. Their resource is moderate, but they want to actually again they want to perform the lifestyle of the little bit of upper middle income population. So, they are go getting, upwardly mobile, they are esteem oriented, they want people should look appreciate, and they appreciate what they are using in terms of car, in terms of their vehicles, in terms of their dress and all this. So, and they are chauvinist and aggressive. So, many perceive themselves as coming from the other side of the tracks, and they are deep, but they are deeply suspicious and irritated in the ways the things are, because they aspire to to become an upper end customer, but they do not have enough resource. So, that is why they are very discontented towards the society, because they are not getting, so hardly faith the system as such. So, for them probably the products, like in our country also, when we talk about this kind of lower end aspirers, so or middle income aspirers, they were usually traveling in scooters and two wheelers, in which we have found that three people even sometimes with their kids, that is the fourth member is traveling in a scooter. So, Ratan Tata has first brought the concept of Tata Nano to actually convert this scooter population to the four-wheeler population, and the price of the car was very near to 1 lakh, which is one of the very cheapest alternative, but it is a car. And in the initial launch advertisement of Tata Nano, if you remember, it was showing a kind of slum or very moderate kind of structure of the society, where a small girl comes out and she puts a black tikka on the car, and everybody is coming and all other kids are coming and probably watching the car. So, this is where it shows that you stand out differently in your neighborhood or society. So, these are emulators. Then comes the achievers. Achievers are actually 20% of the population in the US population that time. They comprise a selected few in business, the professions and the government. They are proficient, they are self-sufficient, and they are competent achievers, and they tend to be acquisitive, they are very meticulous, they are also oriented towards recognition, accomplishment. Maybe they will like a very stylish phone because they are some kind of favorable towards improvement of technology, but resist of radical change also. So, maybe Samsung in our country also we see that for this kind of people we see that Samsung is bringing very slow change in their mobile, and gradually they come up with so many options. Now they are coming up with water resistant mobile phones, maybe, which is an improvement of the technology, but it justifies its value because it is coming up with a new feature of water resistance. Now, I come to the other category, other broader category. So, this other broader category which you see here I have mentioned as the third category, that is the inner directed category, and in this inner directed category we are going to talk about three different lifestyles. One is I am me, experiential lifestyle, and societally conscious lifestyle. So, we go there. Inner directed. What is the characteristics of inner directed customer? Inner directed customer, they tend to be very much self reliant, individualistic, person centered, passionate, but versatile. However, it is beyond any doubt that one can hardly be intensely inner directed without being interacting with the outer world. It is not that you close your doors and sit in your home, but the basic essence of being inner directed is that you are not so much influenced about your social by your social interaction. You learn from your social interaction, but then ultimately you take the decision which you feel appropriate. It is not to satisfy the society, not being not from the fear of being odd man out or just to be a me too kind of customer, but their main choice of product will be directed by their own understanding of their requirements and their self concept. So, they can be of three kinds, as I told: I am me, experiential, and societally conscious. So, first I am me 3% is youthful and intensely individualistic, egoistic, and showy. So, these groups of consumer are full of confusions, but they are very emotional, they are very dramatic and impulsive, and much of their inner direction shows up in great creativity, and they are very innovative in terms of trying new products. You can see the Apple iPhones. Apple iPhone 7 was also it also came with a very improved technology. Now, in the beginning of 2018 or maybe end of 2017, they are going to bring up Apple iPhone 8 also. So, which people are assuming that it will come with even more advanced technology, and initially those who will go and grab this kind of product or we want to buy this kind of products are basically the risk takers, I am me's, who want to show off in the society that they are trendy and they are buying some prestigious products. Then comes the experientials. They are those types like who prefer direct experience and energetic participation. So, they sometimes are very casual, but sometimes very passionate and mystical. Sometimes they are fascinated with the foreign things, sometimes they like something outlandish like parapsychology, sometimes they are engaged in habitual activities. Now, these people are probably very creative, imaginative, and more zealously involved with others than any other group in VALS, but they are like they may like the adventurous tourism, trekking, or they like to go to some unusual locations or maybe very expensive locations in terms of tourism, or maybe they will try to go to some say in some amusement parks, so which may be little costly, but they want to get the kind of experience which they can get in amusement parks, or they may go to the multiplex movie halls where they can get a good experience from the shows. The societally conscious people, the societally conscious, it is a kind of 11% of the population, and they seek to live careful lives that preserve gut and make well. So, inner growth remains a vital part of their life, and as a result many societally conscious people believe in a high degree of independence, which extend to an holistic health and a sense that they are in touch with the internal forces that direct their activities. The things like yoga, meditation, then Reiki, this are some way to go to some spiritual organization are some of the habits of this kind of people. Now, we come to the next class, that is the combined outer and inner directed. They are the integrated people. Now, at the apex of the VALS typology, this is a very tiny group, and they constitute of around 2% of the population. They are actually the very special class of people who can balance between the inner directedness and the outer directedness, which means they can they can collect information from the society, but they can holistically view this information, they can holistically examine and understand, and then they adopt whichever is societally acceptable, and also which should be good for themselves as well as which is good for the society as a whole. These are basically the leaders. So, we see that these are very atypical people, meld the power of outer direction and sensitivity, and these people, as we see that they tend to be very self confident, they are self actualizing, self expressive and intensely conscious of social and emotional issues, which right now I have said, and they are not scared of trying out new things as long as they feel that this will lead to an holistic improvement of the society and also as themselves as a person. So, this kind of people are very extraordinary people like Lincoln, Jefferson, Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda likewise. And how this helps to the marketer? Now, the aforesaid discussion, you may have some understanding about how the new products could be targeted towards a particular segment. So, here also we say that for the new product development, you need to know for which category you are designing the new product. So, if you are designing a product for a sustainer who aspires to say buy a refrigerator, but do not have enough money to buy a refrigerator. So, for them maybe the clay made refrigerator Mitti Cool designed by Mansukh Bhai Prajapati could be a good option. It is a mud or clay made refrigerator which keeps the food refrigerated for some 2-3 days. This does not run in electricity and the cost is also very minimum and price as well as very minimum, but you get the facility of refrigeration. So, that is how if you try, but again when you are trying kind of product like Godrej Chotu Cool, maybe you are trying the lower end population for as a substitute of refrigerator or as to be used as refrigerator, while you are targeting the upper income customers also for, or maybe the IMEs kind of customers, or also the experientials to carry the products during their travels. Targeting and positioning very clearly, if you know the lifestyle of the customer, you can very clearly target that particular customer. Like you may target you may target like say Tata Nano as an aspirational car for the emulators. Now, say when we talk about kind of promotion, so like this next the work on the next area in which it helps is the area of promotion and channel planning. Regarding promotion also, like Belongers, there you find kind of some family themes in the advertisement, like Cadbury's they talk about the Diwali offers, the festival offers, or and how you enjoy the how you celebrate with your family. Flipkart these days is talking about how you provide gifts to your family members, or maybe Flipkart of late is coming up with the recent ad of Diwali Dhamaka for the kids. And otherwise channel planning also, you have VALS framework can help in channel planning also. For example, in the Sunliver they have planned for Project Shakti for marketing Will, which is one of their detergent, which is a low end detergent, whereas this Urban Product Surf Excel is sold by their original the retailer distribution system. Some parallels in India has also, some parallel studies has been done, like one study by Sony Matthews and H. Nagaraj has been shown in their article, an analytical study of VALS of youth implication to marketers. They have divided Indian youth in 5 lifestyle in a similar way, like family oriented, fashion oriented, those who seek to be more of modern fashion, they will like modern gadgets, modern headphones, wireless headphones and all this. They are much more media driven, whatever is shown in the media, they will be much more, that will catch their attention more, and they will be attention seeking, showiness, the modern, using modern amenities, using modern trendy clothes, this kind of behavior would be viewed here. Then education oriented, maybe they are towards more fanatic towards the foreign degrees, and brand oriented, maybe they feel that brands represent their personality and esteem need. So, they will like Reebok, Action Shoes and this kind of brands maybe, and some might be shopping oriented, those who will frequently keep on buying different kind of maybe the clothes and gadgets, electronic gadgets. Sometimes they keep on changing their mobile handsets also very frequently. So, this could be some of the implication of VALS 1 typology. So, thank you so much, and we will meet in the next session with VALS TM typology, which is the most practiced one. Thank you.